College Football Recruiting Rankings 2018, the top classes entering the early signing period. College football's recruiting season hits full stride on Wednesday when the early signing period begins. Ohio State has the top recruiting class in the country, according to the 247 Sports Composite rankings. Texas, Georgia, Miami and Penn State round out the top 5. The effects the early signing period will have aren't known, but it could be bad news for big schools who will lose out on their backup plans if they sign with schools on Wednesday. National Signing Day is still the first week in February, as it normally is, but this deadline may take some of the luster out of a usually big day. College football team recruiting rankings 1. Ohio State 2. Texas 3. Georgia 4. Miami 5. Penn State 6. Notre Dame 7. Alabama 8. Oklahoma 9. Auburn 10. Washington 11. Oregon 12. Michigan 13. LSU 14. UCLA 15. Virginia Tech 16. Clemson 17. South Carolina 18. Texas A&M 19. TCU 20. Maryland 21. Baylor 22. NC State 23. Michigan State 24. Louisville 25. Mississippi State 26. Oklahoma State 27. Minnesota 28. West Virginia 29. Kentucky 30. Florida 31. North Carolina 32. Vanderbilt 33. Cal 34. Wisconsin 35. Rutgers 36. Syracuse 37. Colorado 38. Missouri 39. Washington State 40. Iowa 41. USC 42. Indiana 43. Purdue 44. Georgia Tech 45. Nebraska 46. Northwestern 47. Cincinnati 48. Virginia 49. Arizona 50. Pitt 51. Florida State 52. Wake Forest 53. Tennessee 54. Texas Tech 55. Duke 56. South Florida 57. Boston College 58. Iowa State 59. Stanford 60. Illinois 61. Alabama 62. Houston 63. Boise State 64. Tulane 65. Western Michigan 66. Western Kentucky 67. Toledo 68. Temple 69. Kansas 70. Bayou 71. Arkansas 72. Kansas State 73. Northern Illinois 74. Central Florida 75. FIU 76. SMU 77. Arizona State 78. Memphis 79. Louisiana Tech 80. Navy 81. UTSA 82. Utah 83. East Carolina 84. Southern Miss 85. Colorado State 86. Nevada 87. Oregon State 88. Georgia State 89. Appalachian State 90. Texas State 91. Bowling Green 92. Utah State 93. Arkansas State 94. San Diego State 95. Army 96. UPA 97. Fresno State 98. UNLV 99. North Texas 100. Troy. What is the early signing period? The early signing period has always existed, but was only for junior college players. Now, prep players can sign with their teams in December. Here are a few things to know. Early enrollees don't have to sign during the early signing period. It's common practice for some high school players to enroll early at their college, if they've fulfilled their academic requirements to graduate early. Last year, for instance, Alabama quarterback Tua Tagovailoa was one of the highest-profile early enrollees in the nation, and his career in Tuscaloosa began in January instead of June. However, there's no requirement for an early enrollee to sign during the early signing period. Before, early enrollees would sign what's called a grant-in-aid before they arrived on campus. A grant-in-aid, unlike a national letter of intent, is non-binding and still provides the student's athlete with their tuition and room and board. A national letter of intent is binding for a year after a student's athlete signs it, meaning a player cannot transfer freely after signing. Players who use the early signing period don't have to enroll early. There's plenty of confusion about what the early signing period actually means. Players who sign early won't necessarily enroll early, much like how early enrollees won't necessarily sign during this early signing period. If a player signs a national letter of intent during the early signing period, he is simply solidly confirming his commitment and completely ending the recruiting process. A player who signs early won't be able to get out of their letter of intent unless they are released from it by the school, common for unexpected coaching changes, or by the NCAA. The early signing period doesn't necessarily benefit the recruits. It's easy to say that the addition of an early signing period is in the interests of recruits. It lessens the stress on the recruits, they say. But that's not necessarily the case. Undoubtedly, some programs will tell currently committed recruits that if they don't sign early, they will no longer be considered a commitment. That could lead to a rushed decision if the recruit is having second thoughts. It's also created hectic scenarios for recruits committed to or targeted by programs undergoing recent coaching changes. Those committed players have only a short window to determine whether a new staff is a good fit for them. As always, there remains the issue that there's no way out for recruits after they sign. So, if recruits sign during the early signing period and their recruiting coaches leave for a different job, or are fired, the issue remains the same. There's no easy way for them to look at other options without losing eligibility.